Hey YouTube, how you doing? It's Max. This is a continuation video. A little while ago, I made a video about city skylines, and this is kind of, I've worked on this a little bit off and on over the past, I don't know if it's been a week or couple weeks, but I just wanted to kind of do an update report on this town I was working on. I'll put a link in the description of what the original, um, you know, how we kind of got to the part one, and then after me working on it for a little bit, you can kind of see how it's evolved over the time. So currently, this is a very casual playthrough. Originally, I was creating it to start, just to explain what City Skylines is. So I have money set to infinite, so I wasn't really focused on, as you can see, I'm losing money on this town. It was kind of meant to just be like, let's let's talk about this game. So I think in the other one I started, I don't know if I even worked on this ore industry, but I set up a wastewater here, a water pump there. I think this small area was the only thing I did, and I started mapping out the roadways of that town. And I kind of just wanted to do a continuation of like why I kind of enjoy, I guess the architecture of this game, just looking at the road systems. And so I think briefly I mentioned a little bit about arterial road systems. And these are these roads right here that are three on one side and three on the other side. I have these all as bus taxi, just as meant to. I think that one thing that's really important in like in a city like this is to really have good public transportation because if your transportation's clogged, I don't even actually. Maybe my transportation sucks. I don't even know how you check your traffic control. So you can see my traffic control is kind of bad in these two areas, but overall it's a lot of green, and it's kind of a little bit cramped right there. But um, having good traffic control is, I think, really key to having a functional city. And it's just one of those things that feels really good if you have good traffic control. So, just to help mitigate traffic control, I have this big kind of roundabout area that kind of collects like highway traffic from here. So, you've got this highway and you've got the exits, and there's this big roundabout to help disperse traffic. So, over here on this left hand side of the city is all in industrial, so these roads are pretty much only really reserved for industry. So while there is some, or was it some clogging right here and right here in the industry, you aren't really going to have any residential or commercial traffic problems, which I think is really cool. Um, as you can see, I mean, this is, I was given a lot of money to play around with. I have about 5,000 people in this small town, but I have this level 3 farming community or farming industry, and then this level 2 ore industry. And then I just have some warehouses right here so they can kind of, do their farming. There's some storage if they have anything that needs to be stored, or they can kind of utilize one of these three warehouses. Same with the ore. And then there's another warehouse that I kind of have reserved for just commercial, um, like town needs and stuff like that. So kind of taking a little bit of a loop, or another one more thing I'll talk about while I'm at this view. This kind of loop I have right here is the bus and taxi arterial road. So one of the lanes is reserved strictly for buses and taxis, and to help with the public transportation, as I said. But if you notice in cities, they usually have like a beltway, just kind of like a road that kind of you can kind of circumnavigate around the entire city in a quick way. If you want to leave, you can kind of get on this kind of beltway one way or the other and leave. Or if you want to bypass this town without disrupting traffic, you can just kind of take this roundabout and move on to this next area, which I haven't really developed at all yet. So I'll talk a little bit about each of the neighborhoods. So in this side, I was kind of role playing as if this was going to be like the bougie neighborhood. So you kind of, I haven't worked on the beach park yet, but I was going to have this beach park and just this kind of easy access for these rich folks. They have their own little shopping center over here. These towns or these houses aren't really big right now because the land value is not very high. but I was really planning on kind of making this a very like bougie kind of place to live that's a little bit kind of isolated, but also has this nice avenue with its own roundabout that kind of has one leading to the beach, one leading to town, one leading to this small strip, one leading to the actual neighborhood, and then one leading to the actual city area. So that's what this was. I was planning on keeping this largely just kind of natural, maybe some walking paths in here to sort of escalate this land value, but just kind of reserving this entire kind of peninsula, as you would say, to a more affluent neighborhood. And then this would have been the park, the beach park. So some people who are townies could make it over here, but that was kind of what this was going to be. I already talked about the industry over here. I'll end with the city. Over here was the sorry, my voice is a little bit. You get to see that. This is kind of like the little port town. I don't know why I named it Port Town. I guess it was just a play on Port Town, but it was kind of just like your standard port city town. So you have like these kind of collector roads in the middle, which kind of have some businesses and some areas that lead to a park with some restaurants and some docks. Um, the real estate, you kind of see some of the clean energy, so it's not as like pretty as like the beachfront, so it wouldn't be as expensive to live in this area, but still not a bad place to live if you like the piers and porks, or the piers and ports. So yeah, that was just kind of like one kind of neighborhood I was kind of brainstorming with. And this kind of area is a bit isolated from here. I've got some police and some fire, and these are kind of the bigger ones, so they have a bigger radius. And them being so close to an arterial road, they can have quick access to kind of get around anywhere they need to be pretty quickly, going high speeds, and they can go left or right. So this isn't a one-way; it's an arterial. And then you've got your jail prison, kind of separating, still next to the police in case anything happens at the prison. This is still like again like more of a role-playing scenario. It doesn't really impact the gameplay, but if anything were to happen at the prison, you've got your police headquarters right next door, and then this is also kind of blocking the rest of the town. This kind of barriers the rest of the town from any landfill activity or cemeteries, crematoriums, that kind of stuff. I was thinking maybe it might be cool to put like a cemetery kind of as like a park or something, but I figured it might just be good to keep it in this area. I don't know. That was just kind of my thought. And then there's this walking path that you can kind of take as well, um, just to kind of walk alongside the. I guess you can kind of get down in here. You can just walk along the river, which could be like a cool kind of scenic thing to do. But yeah, so that was my port area. I got my port neighborhood. I got my wealthy neighborhood, and then this is kind of the city area. So I have this main street that kind of runs along here, and this is a collector road. So it just has a bunch of businesses on either side of it, and on this main street you have this kind of central park area where residents can kind of go and enjoy themselves. You can see these kinds of like apartment complexes, and this ultimately, if you keep following this collector road, it will turn eventually into this arterial back at the end. So connects to both sides, and then you kind of have this other main street that kind of crosses it, and it's just more commercial. And these are all I don't know if this one is biking, but you can see all these green paths are biking paths, and these biking paths eventually connect to these biking systems, which also go around the entire um, city. So it's a very bike-friendly city. So you can, it kind of mirrors this arterial road. You can bike, I think, almost all the way around the city, and you can see these sort of exits for bikers to kind of navigate throughout the interior of town. But these bike paths just kind of go all the way around town, which just makes it helps with the traffic problems. and I just think that it would be it's a nice option to have for a town or a city. And these bike paths connect to these. This is the bus headquarters as well. So we have, that's where these red bus lanes. You can see like a bus right here. Oh no, that's not a bus. That's probably an industry truck. You can see a bus is over here, kind of picking people up at the bus stops. And so I think this is the bus station where all the buses park, and then this is the bus depot, which is just kind of where I guess the admin are. And so you'll see these kind of stops. Like this one connects right next to this entrance to the park, and you'll see them kind of scattered throughout the city at different schools and stuff like that. So students can just take public transportation anywhere they need to go. Adults can take public transportation over here. I think there's a bus stop over somewhere over here for industry, so people have the option to either bike to work, which this bike lane pretty much connects to this industrial area, and you can pretty much bike to work, or you can take the bus to work, or you can drive your personal vehicle to work. So there's plenty of options to get around town. And then the Central Park area just has a lot of amenities, like a giant chessboard, just a public restroom, some just parks and playgrounds. I think this is like a trampoline set, and I like utilizing these like fences around town. I have them around the park, and I also have them protecting the bikers over here, just to kind of have a further divide between the arterial roads and the bike lanes, so bikers can feel safe when they're driving or riding their bike. And I like also these ideas of not being super efficient with the land, so you'll see all these like kind of like open areas that I would like to put like landscaping in, just to kind of make it feel like you're not in this like cement covered city, just lots of open green spaces. And it's kind of like planned out a way to where it looks kind of symmetrical, but it's not completely symmetrical. As you can see, there's like a big central park here, there isn't one on the other side. There's an industrial on this side, but there's a neighborhood on this side, so it's easy to navigate around town. And I think these landmark roads, such as this arterial kind of one that goes around, as well as these two central collector commercial areas that kind of split uh, the main area into quadrants, you can really um, navigate. It doesn't take a lot of energy to really navigate around town, especially if you know where Central Park is, or if you know where the hospital is over here. You can really start to figure out where you are in town pretty easily. And then there's just another um, collector road that kind of connects the Port Town neighborhood with this the industrial area, so you can kind of do a quick either through this area, although there's more stops, so you'll most likely take the arterial with less kind of intersections, and then just a small kind of like suburban um, flat houses area here, and you'll see the high rises kind of over in these more commercialized areas. So I don't know. This is kind of just like an update on that. Since I made a part one video, I figured I'd make a part two just to kind of show you the progress I've made. Again, it's nothing too fancy, but I just kind of enjoy this game because just being an architect, I guess. Just I'm not really an architect, but I can still kind of like pretend to be an architect and like kind of create. I wouldn't say this is like my dream city, but this is a city that I think it would be cool to live in for the reasons that I've kind of explained in this video. So yeah, this is City Skylines. This is part two. I don't know if I'll make a part three. I don't know how much I'll really be working on this in the future, but yeah, I just thought I'd share. Um, yeah, if you want to get this game, feel free to download it off of Steam. But that's it for today. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you later.